The ancient teacher Rupa Goswami explains that there are many, many forms of God. This is mentioned by Brahmaji, Advaitam Achutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. As many waves as you see in the sea, that many avatars of the Lord are descending. We know about some of the avatars of the Lord, but actually it is said that there are incarnations of the Supreme Lord in all the species of life. However, Rupa Goswami explains that amongst all the avatars or all the forms of God, three are known as Paravasta: Ram, Krishna, and Nrsimha. Of all the forms of the Lord, these three are considered to be primary. And they are considered primary because they are in the mood of Bhakta Vatsalya. Bhakta Vatsalya means these forms of the Lord are exchanging incredible love with the devotees. And therefore, they are considered the most important forms of the Lord. However, Nrsimhadev of these three is perhaps the most difficult to understand. Because Krishna is charming, Krishna is playful, Krishna is always dancing. Ram is an ideal example, Maryad, he's the ideal husband, the ideal king, the ideal son. In all respects, ideal. But Nrsimhadev comes in a form of anger. And for most people, this is very, very difficult to understand. Most people, when they see the picture of Nrsimhadev for the first time, they have a nervous breakdown. When Prabhupada saw the picture of Nrsimhadev, the first painting that they had made, they came to show Srila Prabhupada, so he began inspecting it. He said, very good, more blood. More blood. Fierce. Anger in the world is generally not appreciated so much, isn't it? Because it's said that when you become angry, you actually kill yourself. We may have experienced, when we get angry, we actually become the victims of our own anger. The Buddha tells a story of a person who had become, who was in the forest and then was shot by an arrow. And he became so angry that he was shot by an arrow, that the arrow was inside him and he was bleeding. But he wouldn't take the arrow out. He said, I'm going to find the person who did this. I'm going to show them what they've done to me. And like that, for hours and hours, he refused to take the arrow out of anger. And in the end, he killed himself. Who killed him? The other person or his own anger? Therefore, Krishna says in the Gita, you have to be very, very careful when you become angry, because krodad bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibrama, smriti bramsad buddhi naso, buddhi nashat pranashyati. As soon as there is krodha, then the next step is sammoha. You become illusioned. And the next step is smriti vibrama. You lose your memory and your good intelligence is lost. Buddhi nashat. And then pranashyati. Then definitely you will do something you regret. And therefore anger is not generally something which is appreciated in the world. Anger separates us from people, isn't it? Why do you think two people, when they're angry at each other, they shout? Why? They are right next to each other. Why are you shouting? You're next to me. But when we're angry, because our hearts have become so distant from each other, therefore people have to shout to make up the distance between the hearts. And it works the other way around as well. When two people's hearts are very, very close, they may be on the other side of the world, but they feel so much connected even without saying one word. They say if you can be in a room with someone and not have to say anything and understand them completely, you can understand you have met their heart very closely. So anger is usually a sign of negativity, a sign of illusion, a sign of distanced hearts. And therefore, generally, anger is something that we avoid in the world. They say 60% of employees have had the fantasy of killing their boss. We won't do a survey here. Now there are internet programs where you can upload the picture of your boss. Let it all out. So anger generally is not appreciated. But now here we have the form of the Lord, an avatar, who is considered the incarnation of anger only. How is it possible? It's possible, dear friends, because did you know there are different languages of love? In the world, they write many books on this now because couples can't seem to get along. I don't know, maybe it's a new thing. So they try to help each partner understand that, no, your partner loves you, but you have to understand their language of love. Because a lady, generally, she wants the man to stay there and speak to her all day. And the man, he just wants to get things done practically. And therefore he has a different way of expressing love, she has a different way of expressing love, and therefore sometimes there's a mismatch. What to do? Sannyas. Anyway, good luck. I'm praying for you. I'm on your side. In the Brahmachari ashram in the Mana, we have a Grihastha therapy bed. So what happens is all the Grihastha men, sometimes it gets a little heated, you know. So we say, no problem, come to the Brahmachari ashram, we have a bed. Tell us all about your problems. So it's a win-win situation because they're happy, someone is listening to them, and all the brahmacharis are happy because they confirmed in their lifestyle. This is a win-win. So there are different, anyway, I better not go into a brahmachari class. There are different languages of love. Krishna's language of love is that he's very playful, very cheeky, very, very charismatic, colorful. This is how Krishna displays his love. Ram, his language of love is sacrifice, selflessness. He shows his love because he is ready to always put others before himself. And this shows an incredible way to express love. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his language of love is that he is very, very magnanimous, very, very kind. He is very, very giving. He is known as Karuna Avatar, isn't it? He gives you mercy even if you don't want it. See, sometimes if you go to Mayapur and you want mercy, then you have to come out of your room, you have to go down to the Ganga, you have to go to the Ghat, and you have to bathe in the Ganga to get mercy of Ganga. But in rainy season, the Ganga overflows, and even if you're in your bed and you're oversleeping, the Ganga comes and drowns you. This is known as Karuna. Patra apatra vichar nahi stan stan. Je jane paye kane kare prem dhan. Mahaprabhu has said he does not consider this is good place, London is good place, Durban is bad place. I had to say it that way. He doesn't consider which is good place. Je jane paye kane kare prem dhan. He just gives love to anyone he encounters. So Mahaprabhu's language of love is to be very magnanimous. Namo Maha Vadanyaya. Very kind. And Nishingadev's language of love is anger. Anger. He shows the incredible love that he has for his devotee by becoming very, very angry. However, the anger of Lord Nishingadev cannot be compared to any of the anger of this world. Sometimes it's said that the anger of the pure devotee and the anger of Lord Nishingadev is like a deep ocean, and on the surface there are crashing waves. So on the surface it sounds like a crashing waves, but when you go into the ocean, then it's very, very calm. So how many of you have become very, very angry only on the surface, and inside completely shanti? Ever happened to you? There are a few ways by which we can understand that Lord Nishingadev's anger is not material. There is something in this world known as spiritual anger. Some spiritual people will try to tell you that spiritual people never become angry. Well, come and join the Hare Krishna movement. That's not true. No, you can also become angry spiritually. I can become angry spiritually. Wow, sounds great. Yes, but from Lord Nishingadev we understand how you can determine whether your anger is spiritual. The first sign that Lord Nishingadev's anger was spiritual was that his anger wasn't for himself. It wasn't for his own benefit. It wasn't for his own agenda. But his anger was completely selfless because he only became angry when his devotee was harmed. If you become extremely angry, not because it's anything to do with your own ego being damaged, but it's simply to do benefit to someone who is saintly, then it's a good chance that your anger is spiritual. The Lord for himself, if someone provokes him, he can tolerate. And the example is Bhrigu Muni. Because Bhrigu Muni wanted to find out who is God. Is it Shiva? Is it Brahma? Or is it Vishnu? And he thought, God is definitely the one who can control anger. And so he went to Brahma. And when he came to Brahma, he just did a mental offense. He didn't offer Brahma respect. And immediately Brahmaji became angry. Then he went to Shiva, and to Shiva he didn't just do a mental offense, he did a verbal offense. He started criticizing Shiva. You are with the ghosts, you are in the crematorium, you are unclean, you are like this. Shiva was about to kill him, became angry. And then Bhrigu Muni came to Vishnu. And to Vishnu, he didn't do a mental offense, he didn't do a verbal offense, he went in and he gave him a fly kick. And as soon as Bhrigu Muni fly kicked Vishnu, Vishnu came to Bhrigu Muni and said, "Are you okay? I hope your leg didn't get injured." You could understand, my God, this is the Supreme Lord, because completely equipoised. So when Vishnu himself, for himself, even if he's offended, he doesn't become angry. But he becomes angry when the devotee is harmed. And therefore, this is the first sign of spiritual anger. It's not selfish, but it's selfless. The second sign that Nishingadev's anger is spiritual is that Nishingadev's anger also incorporates forgiveness. So many times in this world we become angry and then we hold on to that anger no matter what the person does. We don't know the art of how to forgive other people and allow our anger to again come down. And I remember what you told me 23 years ago on that Thursday morning when it was raining outside the supermarket shop. Man, you were like, my God, you still remember that? It's amazing how we just hold on. People are not able to forgive, and they're continuously angry about all the life events that happen to them. The goal of life is not to remember all the terrible things that happen to you and feel angry all the time. The goal of life is to remember all the beautiful things that are happening to you at every moment so you can feel joyful all the time. Nishingadev, even though Hiranyakashipu was a complete upstart, was a complete rascal, still, when requested by Prahlad Maharaj, Nishingadev said, "What to speak of your father? 21 generations will be liberated because of your bhakti. I will give all of your family members that benediction." So if someone in your family decides to become a devotee, don't give them a hard time. You're going to be the beneficiary. So like this, forgiving, very, very forgiving. Spiritual anger means that anger which is also incorporating forgiveness. then you can understand my anger is not material, my anger is completely spiritual. Another way you can understand that Nishingadev's anger is not material is because when it's material anger, you completely lose your intelligence, isn't it? People do crazy things. Once I met someone on the street, I was trying to distribute him a book. Anyway, we were having a conversation, and then he said, by the way, I just came out of jail. I was like, okay. Should have told me that in the start, you know? So I was just trying to play it calm, you know, like, what did you go into jail for, by the way? He said, GBH, grievous bodily harm. I was like, okay, maybe we need to... Anyway, then I said, I don't know, somehow or other, Krishna inspired. I just said to him, what did you do? He said, I was on a night out with my girlfriend, and we flagged down a taxi. And as we, the taxi stops a little ahead because it, So we were walking up to the taxi, and he said someone else came into the taxi. And he said, I just lost it. And right there, attacked the person. And he said, for that, I went to jail for 7 years. No, normally London's a nice place. So that's what happens. We lose our intelligence when we have material anger. But look at Nishingadev's intelligence. He didn't lose it. Nishingadev was raging to kill Hiranyakashipu, but then he knew that Brahma had given all these benedictions to Hiranyakashipu, and therefore Nishingadev, in his incredible rage, was also intelligently figuring out, how am I going to actually kill this Hiranyakashipu while circumventing all of these benedictions? It's like, can you be that intelligent when you become angry? To be able to be so meticulous so that you do it in a very, very specific way so that everything is remained intact. Hiranyakashipu prayed, I will not be killed in the air or on the land. And so Nishingadev figured it out, I'll kill him on my lap. Hiranyakashipu prayed, I should not be killed outside or inside. So Nishingadev figured it out, kill him in the doorway. Like this, every single benediction was circumvented, proving that Nishingadev had complete clarity of intelligence at the same time as being angry. Spiritual anger, another characteristic is that it actually makes a benefit to the world. Most of the time when we're materially angry, all of the time, then eventually what happens is everything comes down. Relationships are lost. Good atmosphere is lost. Intelligence is lost. So many things are lost. But when it's spiritual anger, then it actually uplifts the whole atmosphere. So the appearance day of Nishingadev, as we say, was the disappearance day of Hiranyakashipu, and also the liberation day of all the demigods. And so the spiritual anger of Lord Nishingadev freed all the demigods so that they could come back in the universe and restore it to its proper state. So this is what spiritual anger does. It actually makes a situation much, much better. And you'll know something is spiritual anger finally when that anger, when observed and heard about by others, encourages them to become more saintly and to become more kind, more compassionate, and more Krishna conscious. And therefore, now, for generations, we have been meditating on the anger of Lord Nishingadev, And by meditating on the anger of Lord Nrsimhadev, one actually becomes more and more saintly. So like this, Krishna consciousness is very, very beautiful because it shows that everything in the world has its pure form. And therefore, anger also has its pure form. When anger is selfless, when anger incorporates forgiveness, when anger means you lose no intelligence, when anger creates benefit to the world, and when anger inspires generations to come, then you cry. Then you can understand its spiritual anger. And therefore, this is the anger of Lord Nrsimhadev. So when we see this anger, we should remind ourselves, I have to be very careful about my material anger. And if in any case anger comes up, then may anger come up only according to these qualities. And that kind of anger will not degrade me, but that kind of anger will elevate me. So in a world that's so angry, in a world that's so aggressive, in a world in which there's so much animosity, the world needs to know about Lord Nrsimhadev, because then they'll be able to understand the real way and the real utilization of anger. Because anger, when utilized properly, is a language of love. But for most people in the world now, anger is a language of lust. Kama Esha, Krodha Esha. Because we have material desire, therefore we become angry. And when we become angry, sammoha, we become completely illusion. So in this way, on this day of Nrsimha Caturdasi, let us pray that the spiritual anger of Lord Nrsimhadev may purify us of the tendency to become angry. Because if there's one sure way to make your life miserable, is by allowing your consciousness to become affected by anger. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all very, very much. So it's 3:15. What do I do? Do we finish here or do we take questions? So I don't know what the program is. Smriti Krishna Prabhu, do we take questions? So we have some time for questions. Please, anyone, no angry questions. If anyone would like to ask any question related to any of these topics or related to the anger of Lord Nrsimhadev,